and welcome back to the Chromatic Knits podcast. My name is Michelle, and this is my place on the internet where I talk about all of my crafty adventures. You can find me on Instagram as chromatic_knits, and you can find me on Ravelry as ChromaticKnits. So glad to be back. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Feel free to like and subscribe down below. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. I'm here every 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since the last time I posted, and actually less than 2 weeks. And I have some knitting to show, I have some yarn to show, and I have some new things that I'm working on coming up as well. So feel free to grab your own knitting, your crafting, your laundry, whatever it is that you're doing, or maybe just a nice cup of tea, and let's talk about it. So first things first, the design course that I took with Megan Nodecker, I just saw that she has extended the registration for it. So if you are at all interested in that course, feel free to check that out on the Pip and Pin website. If you just Google Pip and Pin, it'll come up. So that course was amazing. So if you're at all interested in designing, like, check that out. It's great. Some other things going on. So, the ladies over at the Grocery Girls have a knit along going for a sweater along right now, so you can check that out. They're also talking about doing a summer tea knit along after this one's over. So if you're interested in that, as well as their monthly sock knit along that they do that I always forget that they have, and that they always forget that they have, or they forget to mention it. But those things are going on right now. If you know of any others that are going on, I would love to hear about them. There are a few others that I've heard of. The Pisces along, is one, I'm not sure who's running it, but I heard about it on Slip Slip Sis podcast. So it's anything knit in blues and like teal turquoisey colors, the Pisces watercolors. So you can check that out. If you just Google it, it'll come up. And a lot of other things going on this month. So it is March already, which means that we are out of Aquarius season. And we are moving on. So, first things first, as far as my knitting goes, I have an FO and I am wearing it. It is my Litmus cowl. I loved this knit, 110%. This is a pattern by Jude Harper. You will see the name Amy Florence on it, which is Jude's dead name. So you can check that out. This is just knit in the round. It's just a tube that you knit in the round, and it's amazing. I knit this. The gray is Plucky Knitters Rambouillet base. No, Plucky Knitters Cashmerino base. My bad. And the Smoke and Mirrors colorway. And then the colors are Cannon Hand Dyed's Bright Rainbow. They do a set of 5-gram minis. So this is 25-gram minis. In all of these rainbow colors, and I loved it. It's just knitting in the round and then just sewing in your ends, and then you just kitcher it together. I can say all of these things because it's a free pattern. You can download it for free on Ravelry. I don't know if it's on the Stranded website as well if you're not a Ravelry user, but it's definitely available on Ravelry, so you can check it out there. This came out huge, so I will show you all the colors. So it's a complete rainbow. So you start with your pinks and your reds, and I'll get into why that gray is a different color in a second, and the oranges and yellows and greens, teals, blues, purples, and then back to the top. So this gray here is actually also by Plucky Knitter and also in the Smoke and Mirrors colorway, but it is on her 75-25 base instead of her Cashmerino base. I don't know why it's so much lighter. Like, I know that the dye takes a little bit differently on different bases, but it's like a lot different. It's almost like a silver versus a gray. So anyway, I had it lying around. I got it. It's because I ran out of yarn to bind off my Pure Joy. And so I had it, and I had already purchased it, and I had already spent, you know, the money on it. So I figured I'll just use it. I don't really mind that it's a different color for just this little section. Honestly, don't think many people will even notice or even care. So yeah. That is where we're at. I'm going to put it back on because it's cool today. It's gone back to second winter here. It's in the 40s, which I know for some people is like, that's a heat wave. I know when I lived in Wisconsin, I was like, what are you complaining about? Absolutely not. But but yeah, so it's in the 40s today, so it's nice and cool up here. So I'm going to go ahead and wear this while it's not too hot, and I can actually enjoy it before it gets too hot for winter, or for summer rather. But yeah, this was super enjoyable. It's just knit in the round, so would highly recommend. The next thing that I've worked on, I'm not going to show because I didn't work on it that much. I'll show it next time when I've had more time to work on it. I worked a little bit on my mitten advent calendar. I just picked it up this morning and worked on it for like an hour. So there's like literally this much to show. Because it's like, it's fingering weight, but it's Knit Picks palette, which is like super thin, like super thin. So yeah. So I'm not going to show it because again, it's like this much, and I'll show you next time when I've done more to it. But I did work on that a little bit, so I do want to mention it. The next thing I have worked on is I've worked a lot on my collar crop top, or collar tee as some people call it. So, my friends, let's see if I can figure this out. Okay, so this is the front. So the way that this construction works is this is the front and also the sleeves. So this is going to cover, this is going to go this way. It's going to be the sleeves, and then I'm about to join it in the round to do the bottom part of the sweater. So I've knit the front and now the back. The last time you saw it, I had most of the front done, but not all the way. I was here where this little, my little sheep, which is new, which I love. See my little sheep? Charmed and Dangerous, side note, does the cutest little progress keepers. Like, I can't even. It's like the kawaii style, so they have these little dots by the eyes. I don't know if you can see that. See the little dots? Like, see how cute that is? I know it's kind of blurry, but it's so cute. So if you haven't checked out her shop, do it. It's totally worth it. And they are pretty affordable. I get them super fast. And I use them all the time. So would highly recommend. So this is coming along. This is fingering weight, I will say that. So it's a lot of knitting, and especially when you are knitting the size that I am knitting, which is the largest size. This is a 62-inch bust is the size that I'm knitting. But it's really coming along. I've really enjoyed working on it. It's like, it's really memorizable and easy so far. I just need to figure out how to do the next part, but yeah, would highly recommend. There's a bunch of different Kala patterns as well. There's a dress version of this, like a sweater dress version. There's a crop top, there's a tee, there's a bunch of them, and there's a whole book of patterns that are textured like this, all written by Megan, who's the founder of Pip and Pin, who is the writer of this pattern, who's the creator of this pattern. So yeah, would highly recommend if you haven't checked it out. This is a super popular pattern. It's on Ravelry. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but you can Google it. You could also look on the Pip and Pin website. She has some patterns available there as well, so you can check that out. But yeah, this is a super enjoyable knit. It's coming along, and I love this yarn. Like, I'd never knit with this yarn before. Working on this project, this is the Knit Picks Gloss, which is a 70% merino, 30% silk base. Hi, Nugget. Nugget is here, my cat, to give moral support. And this is the Plume colorway. I never use it for, but it is so soft. It is so soft. And you really could use it for anything. Like, you could use this for socks because the silk is going to give it that extra strength that it needs. You could use this for anything, but it is perfect for this garment, especially when I got this on sale during their Knit Pick sale over the summer last summer. So if you can get it for like 50% off, why not do it? And we'll be talking more about the Knit Pick sale at the end of this episode as well. So anyway, that is coming along. I've loved working on this. Would highly recommend. Also talking about this, you guys. Aria, who's not up here at the moment, she's downstairs with her mom. I love her to death, but she has learned from her mama, who is me, a love of yarn. She has learned it. And anytime I leave anything open or there's yarn out where she can get to it, she will sneak and she will grab it and she will bury it. She will hide it somewhere. And then when we are not around, whether it's because we're upstairs and she's downstairs or we're just gone, we'll come back and it will be like the worst cobweb you've ever seen of yarn. Like, it will be everywhere. Everywhere. And it's been chewed on. It's like gross because it's got dog slobber on it. It is knotted 10 ways to Sunday. Like, it is the worst. And it takes 12 years to like undestroy it and try and salvage it and try to unknot it and do all the things. Especially because she loves to do it with hand-dyed fingering weight yarn. So not only is it expensive, but it's also 400 yards. It's also the most yardage ever. So yeah, no. So she grabbed this. I found it on the stairs. That's why it's like moderately mangled, because I had left this bag. I hadn't cinched it completely, and she decided to sneak her head in and steal a skein because that's what she does. And she doesn't like, well, she does like the caked up skeins, but if she has a choice, she will go for a non-caked up skein. She will do it just in the normal skein. Which we will talk about that a little bit too, in a little bit. The other project that I've worked on this week, or these past 2 weeks, is my Habitation Throw. This is a pattern by Helen Stewart. I'm knitting this out of a Homespun House's soft sock base. I've only knit a little bit on it. I've only knit like another color and a half. Well, 2 colors, I guess you could say. See my little fox? I love this little guy. Yeah. My little Arctic fox. I'm not sure if he came, I think he came from Simply Serving, I think. Which, if you haven't checked them out too, like right up there with Charmed and Dangerous. They're pretty great. Again, this pattern is like mostly just stockinette stitch. With a little bit of a detail, of a lace detail here and there, plus increases. So, love it. Would highly recommend. And I love this yarn. Like, I don't know what kind of crack the Germans put in this soft sock base that a Homespun House uses, but like, I'm addicted to this. Like, I don't understand. But I would have knit more on this, but I left it in my car, and then I forgot I left it in my car. And for those of you who are playing the home game who don't have ADHD, with ADHD people, object permanence is a thing. If we cannot see it, it does not exist. Like, eventually we will remember that it exists and go and get it wherever it is, But like in this case, like this sitting in my car, like I did not see it, therefore I did not work on it after I started working on it, and therefore it did not exist. So yeah, I don't know if any of you are like that. That is why, oh my gosh, and we'll get into the next section, why I do my best not to put yarn in bags, because, and just like set it aside for a project and then not plan on working on it immediately, because I know that if I don't work on it immediately, it will sit in that bag for the rest of my life. Like it will stay there forever. Like it's just gonna, like, I have now resigned that yarn to live in that bag for the rest of its life, or the rest of my life, whichever one comes first. Like that is what's happening. I don't know if you guys are like that, if you have any projects like that, if you have any UFOs that are like that, but no. We cannot do that here at Casa Michelle. At Casa Chromatic Knits. We cannot do that, because that yarn will never get knit. And if it does, by some miracle, it will be a long time. It will be sitting there for a long time, like longer than if it was in my stash. It will be sitting there until after all the stash is gone. As a last resort, when I'm going, or like, I'll be going through things and then discover that it's there again. And then if I don't immediately knit on it after I rediscover that it exists, it will sit there again for an eternity. Excuse me. But yeah, this is coming along. I really need to knit a lot on this. So that's one of the projects I'm going to be focusing on. Because it is March, which means that we are halfway through the first half of the year, and I have 2 blankets to make for my nieces. This is the first one, and this is the smallest one, because she is a smaller human, because she is younger. She's the youngest. So, yeah. So I really need to jam through this as much as possible. In case you're wondering, this is Della Q. Love Black Rainbow. I love anything rainbow, if you haven't noticed. I am a rainbow queen. I love me some rainbow for various reasons. Number one, because I am a bisexual gay woman. I identify as both, especially because I'm a same-sex relationship. So I love me some rainbow for that reason, but also because it's so cheerful. Like, I love color in my life. I am a huge advocate of using color all the time. If I like, every time I'm like rainbow, like 100%, like all my bags are rainbow. I would have everything in my life be rainbow. But anyway, that's beside the point. But just wanted to bring that up. And then I do have some acquisitions to show. So I signed up for the February Black Label yarn by Lola Bean Yarn Co. This is what it looks like. Oh, if you haven't seen it, spoiler, this is what it looks like. I got it like over a week ago, so most people should have it by now. This is probably my favorite of the black labels that I have signed up for previously. As many of you know, Lola Bean Yarn Co., aka Adela, is one of my favorite dyers, and her yarn is always amazing. So if you haven't checked her out, definitely do that. She has been sick recently, so I know there hasn't been a lot in the shop, but there was a pre-order for one of her red colorways, Diablo. Hi, Aria. Aria has joined us. Hello. No. She's trying to get into the bag with the yarn. Anyway, so love this. It's got all these, like, look, check out that purple. Like, look at this pink that's like hiding in there. Like, look how it's like got reds and grays and pinks and this vibrant purple that I love, and this blue. Like, can you even? I can't even. It's got like 2 different purples. Like, it's got like this darker purple and it's got this more vibrant purple. Like, love it. Like, I know this is going to come off badly, but there's a reason that the Red Hat Society, those colors jam. Like, red and purple jam together. Like, it works. It has worked for a long time, and that's what makes this work. Like, they're so good together. I love it so much. Okay, so that came in. I have to keep it up here because if I put it on the floor, Aria will try to steal it. And she will run away with it and she will destroy it. Won't you? My little girl. What are you doing? I love you. Okay. So, have you ever had one of those moments when, like, you order something, but you think that you don't remember that you order it, so you order something almost identical, and then it comes in the mail and you're like, oh, I forgot that I did that. Yeah, funny story. That happened to me. So, for those of you who don't know, red is my favorite color. Favorite color, hands down. I'm wearing red today. Yeah, favorite color, hands down. So when I saw this Aries star sign collection from Hue Loco, I was like, heck yeah, sign me up. Where do I sign? So I saw it and I purchased the 20 gram set. See all those nice reds and pinks? Love that. And love this color. Absolutely love that color. And then I was like, and then I woke up another day and was like, oh my gosh, I love that set. Sign me up. And I got the 50 gram set. So now I have both. So now I get to think about what I'm going to do with this. So now I have 70 grams of each color. So it could be, depending on what, I don't even know. They're both merino sock. So hypothetically, I could make a pair of socks with all of these, or I could make a shawl. I don't know. If you have any ideas, it's a fade. So if you have any ideas, let me know. I would love to hear about it down. I could make one of these and just make like 2 stripes of the same color. No, it'd be 4 stripes. So that'd be a lot. Maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll do that with the scraps. I'll make a litmus cowl. But anyway, that's beside the point. If you have any ideas for this, I would love to hear about it. But I absolutely love this color. I personally am not an Aries. I don't know anyone who is. But I'm actually right on the border. So my birthday is April 21st. So I'm right on the border of Taurus and Aries. So I don't know. I feel like some of those Aries traits have kind of like filtered over, but I'm definitely stubborn enough to be a Taurus. So, and like Taurus, the colors are all green, which is fine because it's like an earth sign, whatever. But I'm just like, but I like the reds. Like my colorful rainbow heart is like, green is fine. Like green is my partner's favorite color. And that's like, if green's your favorite color, like that's you. You get all the green, girl or boy, whoever, or whatever. But like, it's not my jam 100%. Like, I love me some green, like when it's mixed in at rainbow, but not necessarily on its own as much. But yeah, I was like, you know, this Aries set, 100%. Maybe not the Taurus set. And then going along with the reds, it was recently Valentine's Day, and Moonglow Yarn Co., which I have gotten one other set of their yarn for one of their doodle cowls, they came out with a vintage Valentine's set, which I love, because again, it's got those pinks, the teals, the reds in there that I love. And this is DK. Each of these is 115 grams. So it's got a little bit more yarn weight to it. I don't know what I'm going to make out of this. She made a blanket out of it, so I'm thinking maybe I might make a throw out of it. But if you have any other ideas, I would love to hear about them. What would you make if you had a set? So this is 6 skeins of 115 grams. I also got a bag because I really liked the bag that she put her advent calendar in. So I got a bag as well. I have put this into here. Sorry for all the crinkling, by the way. So that is all of the yarn that has come in. Now, here's the problem that I have. Well, it's not a problem. It's a good problem to have, in my opinion. If you've been watching this podcast for any length of time, you know that I have a stash with a capital S-T-A-S-H. It's massive. I did not show you all of it. It is bursting out of the space that I have available for it, and I can no longer house it in the space that I had available for it. So now I need to reduce my stash. One of the ways, so I know what you're thinking, but Michelle, how can you give up buying yarn? For various reasons. Number one, I figured out how much money I spent on yarn last year, and I could have gone on vacation with that much yarn, that much money. Like, I could have gone and had a wonderful time visiting people, which is my plan for this year, to spend some time and save that money to spend more time with my family and friends, because that is important to me, and I did not do that as much as I needed to last year, and I regretted it. But I got all this yarn, which is wonderful. So it's kind of like, you got to keep the balance, right? So maybe one year I'll spend it on yarn, and the next year I'll spend it on vacations. Who knows? But anyway, so the space that I have available for the yarn is bursting out, and I don't have anywhere else I can put it that is not closed off, that is not enclosed, because again, Aria will steal the yarn. She will destroy it, and she will strew it everywhere. And then I will spend the rest of my life trying to knot the whole thing. Oh my gosh. It's all, like, it takes forever. It's because it's just, oh, it's so bad. And sometimes there's parts of it you just can't salvage because she'll gnaw on it, and it's just, can't do it. Can't do it. So in order to preserve the yarn that I have and not purchase yarn for it to just be destroyed, because, you know, she's a classy girl. She's like her mama. She's like, you know what? I'm going to pass up all of that factory made yarn, and we're just going to go and get the hand milled, hand dyed yarn, because, you know, she has class. I'm just kidding. Because she has high shelf standards. My goodness. And I think there's just something about the wool, like the smell of the wool for her is just like intoxicating. Like, she just loves it so much, and I'm like, and also my cat likes to chew on, like, if he won't go out of his way to steal a skein of yarn, but if I am knitting and there's a string, like I'm pulling yarn, like if I had a cake in my bag and I was pulling it up to me to knit, he would start, like, I would just hear chomping because he'd just start gnawing on it, because the yarn moving, like, attracts some instinct in him to hunt it. So anyway, so must protect the yarn at all costs. So how am I going to do that? And how am I going to reduce my stash? Okay, number one, the rules that are going to go into reducing my stash are, I'm going to be tracking how much is going into my stash and how much is going out of my stash. The goal for this year is to have more yarn going in than going out. The way that I'm measuring it is by grams. So, because it's like, I don't want to be like, there were 100 gram skein, but I only used like 76 grams of it, and then the rest is scrap. Like, no. We're not doing that. Plus, like, there's 10 gram skeins and 5 gram scraps and 100 gram skeins and 50s and 20s, and it's a lot. So we're just going to do number of grams. The way that so some people, the way that they track it is when they pull it out of their stash, and put it into a project bag in order to knit it, that counts as it coming out of stash. That is not how I'm going to be measuring it for 2 reasons. The way I'm going to be measuring it, first of all, is I'm going to be measuring how much of it I knit, or the other way that it comes out of stash is if I give it away or use it as a giveaway on this podcast, which I will today. So if you're still here, stick around to the end, because I'll give you instructions on how to enter the giveaway for me to send you some yarn. And the yarn is good yarn. Like I purchased it, or it's just not my color or whatever. It was a monthly thing, and it's sometimes, you get great yarn, but it's just not your color, kind of thing. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So I can either knit the yarn, and that's how many grams, somebody measuring how many grams I use over the next 2 weeks, or I can give it away, I can rehome it, or I can donate it. Those are the options, all of which get it out of my house and all of which get it out of my stash. So those all count. The ways that I am stopping the yarn from coming in is that I am the only time this year that I will allow myself to purchase yarn is two things. One, I will allow myself to purchase yarn for myself for my birthday. Number 2, I will allow myself to purchase yarn during the Knit Picks annual sale. Mainly yarn to knit my niece a blanket, because I promised her that I would, and she picked out yarn already that is Knit Picks yarn and Knit Picks colorways. So I'm going to wait until the Knit Picks sale this summer, order that yarn, and then knit it up for her for Christmas. So I'm allowing myself to do that. And then if there's anything else that I want during the Knit Picks sale, because they have yarn that's like 60% off, 50% off. If there's a good deal in there and it's financially responsible for me to buy something, I will do it then. That is my caveat for the year. The other things that can come in to the stash are things that I've already ordered. So I have a couple pre-orders with Lola Bean Yarn Co. that haven't come in yet, and I have ordered an advent for this coming December. So those will be coming into the stash. In the meantime, I will keep track of everything that I knit and everything that I go through. I will also be going through my stash and doing more frequent giveaways on this channel. So if you are interested in getting some free yarn, stick around. Make sure that you comment every week, and I will tell you what to comment at the end of the episode so that you can be entered to win. And this is for anyone, so whether you're in the US or whether you're international, I don't care, I will ship it to you. So keep that in mind. Let me think, what else? As far as these last couple weeks go, all of the yarn that I showed you that I purchased that came in, I added it all up, and it came out to, if I can flip my page here, kept a little sheet. So 1,390 grams came in. So I have the 10 50 grams skeins, which is 500, 10 20 gram skeins, which is 200, and then 6 of the 115 gram skeins. Actually, no, it's 1,490 is the total, because I have this skein, which I did not add, because it came later. So 1,490 total came in. And then over the last 2 weeks, I have rehomed 800 grams. So I've given away 8 skeins of yarn. I have knitted about 200 grams. I didn't decide to start weighing all my yarn and doing all those things until after the 2 weeks had started. So I don't 100% know where I was, but it's roughly 200 grams is what I've knit in the last 2 weeks. And then I have 3 skeins set aside for giveaways. So that's 300 grams. So total, it's 1,490 incoming and 1,300 outgoing. So that leaves a, positive incoming of 190. This will be the largest incoming, except maybe one of my Lola Bean Yarn Co. pre-orders that will come in this year. And again, I'm done buying for the year. So except for the Knit Pick sale and the stuff that's already come in and for my birthday. So let's see. So that is how I'm going to be controlling my stash and keeping track of what is going in and what is going out. I am not keeping, I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get rid of my stash this year. Like, it's not possible. I would have to be like an octopus who only knits and doesn't sleep or do anything else ever. Like, it's not possible. Like, I would have to have like 20 hands. And yeah, dude, just, it's not possible. Because again, my stash is ginormous and it's basically beyond life expectancy at this point. So, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. So I was going to count all the skeins that I have, and I got halfway through one of those cubes and was like, no. Number one, I hate this. Number two, I lost count like twice and was like, I don't even know if we're going to even have an accurate count at the end of this because the ADHD is real and I cannot focus long enough to count all of those cubes and count all the minis and the advents and the whatevers that I have set aside. Like, no. I have no idea how much yarn I have. I have no idea. Thousands and thousands of grams. That is the answer. It's thousands of grams of yarn. It's hundreds of skeins, I would guess. I would bet you. Hundreds of skeins, thousands of grams. Don't know. Don't need to know, really, because we're really just working on reducing the stash, not like eliminating the stash. We're not gonna nitty natty it. But anyway, so those are my goals. I'm trying to keep it as chill as possible and as feasible as possible and as manageable as possible. Yeah. Because again, ADHD, like, we just can't handle, like, we can't handle like all the nitpicky things. Like, it's just not something that's going to happen. And I know that about myself, and I accept that about myself, that if I make it too complicated, I just won't do it. It will overwhelm me and I will not do it. So that is the plan for my stash. So every week I will be every 2 weeks rather, I will be updating you on my stash, how much has gone in, how much has come out. And we shall see what it looks like at the end of the year. So what else? I think that is everything. Oh, the giveaway. So if you are interested in getting some free yarn, please comment down below and tell me what kind of yarn. No, tell me about how you manage your stash. So do you keep a large stash? Do you have a small stash? Do you only buy yarn for projects? Do you buy yarn because it's pretty? Like, what makes you purchase yarn? What is it about yarn and keeping a yarn stash that you enjoy? That is what I want you to write in the comments down below, and then I will say a winner on the next podcast. And I will plan to have a giveaway pretty much every week, every 2 weeks rather, on this podcast from now on to, again, rehome some of my yarn that I'm just honestly not going to use for myself. So, so yeah, check that out down below. If you have any questions about anything I've shown today, if you have any comments about anything I've shown today, or if there's anything that you would like to see on this podcast, I would love to hear about it down below as well. So feel free to comment, feel free to like, feel free to share, and I will see you again in 2 weeks. I hope that all of your knitting adventures go well and that all of your yarny acquisitions come in nice and healthy. And I hope to see you again in 2 weeks' time. Bye, everybody.